I mean, it's legal, right?
It's totally legal.
Okay.
Do people get upset at you if you do certain things?
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, Couple Casuals podcast. A lot going on. You know, I had to comment on this one. I had to jump in and talk about this one here, guys. This one's going to be an interesting one. Elon Musk, the multi-billionaire, the innovator, the genius, some would call him, the absolute beauty, as others would call him, has done something unprecedented, has done something that a lot of people are happy about and a lot of people are upset about. I always said Twitter was a place for people to go and yell. But now it's going to be a place for everybody to go and yell. Early last week on April 25th, 2022, for the records, Elon Musk purchased Twitter for $44 billion. Full disclosure, I'm a fan of Elon. I feel like he'd be a good guy to sit down and have a couple casuals with, no pun intended. Twitter started off as like a little harmless social media app that people used to just share their thoughts with. And they would just tweet out like random stupid shit like at the gym, LOL.
At the crime scene, LOL.
Good tweet.
Yeah,
Good tweet.
But eventually, somewhere along the line, Twitter became a political playground for predominantly liberals. Let's be honest here. It has a liberal bias. Now, the problem with that is that free speech is under attack when an entity like Twitter is liberal leaning and is only favoring one side of the political aisle. And nowadays, it's very hard to remove the politics from anything because politics seems to find its way into everything nowadays because we are very divided. He's been pretty transparent from the beginning that he wants to make Twitter a landscape for free speech, to encourage free speech on both sides of the political spectrum. Hold on a second here. Holy fuck, that's good beer. And once Elon successfully purchased Twitter, everybody started freaking out. Well, not everybody, specifically the liberals. They started freaking out because they felt it's going to be an opportunity for hate speech, that Elon is encouraging hate speech. It's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. It's not true. It's false. It's fucking fairy dust. It's fugazi. It's not real.
Fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not fucking real.
For the longest time, the landscapes were very open and thriving for people who represented certain positions and certain narratives. And anybody who represented the opposing side of those specific positions or arguments was censored, canceled, shadow banned, was not given the right to use the platform as it was intended to be used. So now we're in a situation where there's going to be more opportunities for people to speak, for people to rebuttal, for people to give their 2 cents, as one would say. There was a tweet that Elon said, and let's pull up a couple tweets by Elon following the, what would you call it, the fiasco. Here's one of the tweets that he tweeted out. I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means. We need free speech. And history has shown us that if you go against those narratives or you disagree with those certain positions, you are susceptible to being canceled. You are susceptible to being shadow banned. You are open for scrutiny, but with little voice to rebuttal. That's the reality of the situation. We've seen it through COVID. COVID was a good example. Through Twitter, people would say certain things. They discussed the things with the mask. They discussed the things with natural immunity, and Twitter chose based on what they agreed with. And this is the precisely exact reason why Elon Musk was inspired to say, wait a minute, this is not how free speech works. This is not how democracy works. We got people that decide what you can and can't do. People that are just walking around in their fucking Twitter office over there, drinking their Starbucks and their mocha caps, which by the way, they were apparently crying. They were literally crying. I can't believe Elon took over. We need open dialogue between both sides because freedom of speech is fundamental in a democracy. It's fundamental in learning as individuals. How do you learn? You speak. If you don't have the right to speak or share your idea and use these entities freely as another person is, because maybe there's an opportunity for you to learn. It's how we orient ourselves forward. We can't censor people predicated off of political bias. We can't do it. I fucking hate censorship. I don't know if you guys realize that by now, but let's go. Moving on to the next point. There was one clip, obviously the news media, MSNBC, CNN, all the fantastic, amazing, just great and honest news networks that they are, right? I think it was on MSNBC, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to throw the video up here. It was one of the reporters, and he was describing possibility of what can happen now with Elon Musk being the sole owner of Twitter. He can censor one political side, one political candidates. He can shift the narratives so they only favor one side. He can cancel. He can totally, let me just fucking see what he said, for fuck's sakes, I forget.
You don't have to explain yourself. You don't even have to be transparent. You could secretly ban one party's candidate or all of its candidates, all of its nominees, or you could just secretly turn down the reach of their stuff and turn up the reach of something else, and the rest of us might not even find out about it till after the election.
Do we not see the irony in that video? Do we not see the irony of it? I feel like that happened. I feel like that might have happened. What he just laid out there, it sounded pretty fucking familiar. In regards to Twitter and the future of it, at the end of the day, we don't know. We don't know what Elon's going to do. We don't know how he's going to carry this. I think, in my prediction, Twitter's going to become a much more successful business. I think it's going to go in the right direction. And the reality is that if you censor speech, you censor thought. Because if you cannot say certain things or you cannot speak freely, even if you're wrong, that's the reality of it. You're going to be wrong at times. That's the fucking reality about it. Or people are going to get offended. That's another reality of it. But that's life. If you censor speech, you censor thought. And, they hate it. They fucking hate the guy. They hate the guy because he's outspoken. He can't be controlled. And he says what he wants. And they don't like that. Do we not see that, by the way? If you don't agree with them, they don't like you. And they hate you and they try to cancel you and they try to find a way to absolutely ruin your life. And Twitter was the playground for that. Twitter was the playground where people got canceled. That's literally where this culture started. And now it's going to change because Elon Musk has purchased Twitter. At the end of the day, it's the end of the fucking day. So Elon owns Twitter. It's pretty fucking cool in my opinion. Fucking cucks.